Hey, what's going on, Bad Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and welcome to another edition of the State of the Saints podcast prediction show. And first off, I want to say thank you very much for checking out this podcast, and hopefully you got my notification that I was going to start around 9:30. I would have started earlier, but I was really trying to catch the first quarter of the Ohio State Clemson game. Um, Looked like a pretty much blowout to me. You know, it seems like Clemson just can't get in the end zone. I don't know if they scored since I watched it, but it was 13-0 when I started watching the game. And of course, I seen the game against LSU and Oklahoma when LSU beat the brakes, and I do mean the brakes, off Oklahoma. I mean, they absolutely destroyed them cats. But that's good to see LSU in the national championship game. It looks like it's going to be a rematch of Joe Burrow versus his old team. Should be a great storyline for all those people that love storylines. And Ohio State looked like they the best team, and LSU look like they're the best team in the country. So it's going to be very interesting. I don't think that Clemson have enough dogs, have enough dogs out there to try to get this lead back on Ohio State. It seems like Ohio State is on a mission. But let's go ahead and talk about the New Orleans Saints game, man. New Orleans Saints got a big road test against the Carolina Panthers. It's week 17, the final game of the season for a lot of teams, and then there's also, an opportunity for a couple teams that's going to the postseason to try to play some of their best football. You have the New Orleans Saints. On one hand, they're playing for the number one seed. If they win and a couple more things go their way, they could possibly have the number one seed. If they lose, they still have an opportunity to get the number one seed. So, I mean, a lot of people asking the questions like, should the Saints, play their starters in this game? First I want to start with that. I feel like the New Orleans Saints need to have their starters play in this game. I think that it's important for them to play. You want to have momentum going into the postseason. On the other hand, I can understand why people might not want to see the Saints starters in this game. There's a possibility they can get hurt, and the Saints have to have a wild card game against the Minnesota Vikings next week. So, but I guess, if we think about it, we have to say that the New Orleans Saints should have their starters playing this game. But the Carolina Panthers, I mean, they've been looking god awful these last couple of weeks. They fired their head coach, Ryan Rivera, a couple weeks ago, and it seemed like that kind of hurt the morale of the team. A lot of people in that organization loved Ryan Rivera. A lot of people loved, the way that he coached, his leadership, and he gets fired in the middle of the season. All of a sudden, these guys seem like they left with him. They played against the Indianapolis Colts last week. That was embarrassing. Greg Olsen called out the team, called out the organization, said that they're an embarrassment and a disaster right now. So I'm not buying into what Greg Olsen is selling. I understand what the Carolina Panthers and what they can represent. They always play the Saints tough. I mean, we know about that game a couple weeks back when the Saints had to kick a field goal, a game-winning field goal, in order for them to actually win the game. Carolina Panthers, I'm pretty sure they're going to play this game like this is their Super Bowl. There's nothing better than that you're miserable and making your rivals miserable. So I think that the Carolina Panthers are going to be game for this game. Week 17s in the past for the New Orleans Saints have not been good. A lot of the games in Week 17, the Saints have been playing lazy. It seems like they don't care because, they've been going to the postseason and they've been more focused on the postseason than actually Week 17. This could be a letdown game for the New Orleans Saints. If history shows us anything, we know that Week 17, when it comes to New Orleans Saints, they don't play their best football. I mean, I'm not telling you something that's just my opinion. I mean, it's just something that's facts. I mean, they've been playing lazy, very disinterested football around this time. But if I had to pick a winner of this game, I had to go with the New Orleans Saints. I think that you have the Carolina Panthers team. They still Very upset about Ron Rivera. I think they got their bags packed. I think a lot of these guys are going to probably play, motivational football the first couple quarters of this game, and then I feel like the Saints are going to flex their muscle. I think the Saints are going to win this game. I really feel like Drew Brees probably is not going to finish this game. I think it's going to get out of hand in the second half. And I got the Saints winning this game by a score of 37-13. I think that they're going to really do some damage out there at Bank of America Stadium, and it's really going to, really upset a lot of fans in Carolina. The Saints, they have a lot of injuries. According to sources, Von Bell will not be in this game. Marcus Williams will not be playing in this game. I think Kiko Alonso, I didn't hear about him coming back. Of course, we know Andrews Pete is still out. So the New Orleans Saints are dealing with a lot of injuries. But on the plus side, we have DJ Swearinger, the guy that the Saints signed a couple weeks ago. He's going to play in this game. And also Janoris Jenkins. We get a second week to see what he actually has, especially going into the postseason. We want to see what 2 weeks, getting acclimated to the playbook and, just getting adjusted with the play calls and the signals and stuff like that, what kind of game Janoris Jenkins is going to have. But that's my take on the game, man. I mean, I don't think it's going to be anything interesting, except for the fact I think that Christian McCaffrey is going to break that record that he had, that he's been going after. I mean, he's an incredible athlete, a incredible running back. So I think that this is going to be, a good historic game for him. But besides that, I don't think that the Carolina Panthers are going to be able to hang with the New Orleans Saints. But I'm looking at Wyatt. He said Kiko and Andrews Pete are playing, so that's a good thing. I didn't know if they were playing or not. If it was me, I wouldn't let them play. I mean, that's just me. I would hold them out until the postseason. But I understand why they probably would have them playing, probably because they want to kind of shake the rust off and get them ready for the postseason. But I like the way that Sean Payton said he didn't want to sit any starters. I like the way that he did that. He came out there and said everybody's going to play because they're trying to, get that number one seed. I mean, that's good. That's good stuff right there. But what the Saints need to happen, what they need to happen in order to get the number one seed. Well, first off, they got to win this game against the Carolina Panthers. And also they're going to need some losses here. They're going to need some losses by the Green Bay Packers, and they're going to need a loss by the 49ers. If we're going to be realistic, I don't think there's no way in the world that the Green Bay Packers are going to lose to the Detroit Lions. You got a better chance of seeing the Seattle Seahawks beating the San Francisco 49ers and, maybe getting that number 2 seed, still getting a first round bye, still getting a home game and a shot at the NFC Championship game. You probably have to go on the road or, crazier things have happened. You probably have a game where the Green Bay Packers might slip up and, you might end up having the NFC Championship game back in New Orleans. I mean, you never know. You never know how the playoffs are going to, end up. I mean, all these teams, they're evenly matched. I don't feel like no team is just leaps and bounds better than the next team in NFC. I feel like any team can be any other team on any given Sunday. That's just true. I like the way that the New Orleans Saints are playing right now. Ever since the 49ers games, they've been improving. That first half of that Tennessee Titan game, that was kind of hard to watch, but seeing these guys weather in the storm and correct the mistakes in the second half, it was a really good look. And I'm just really happy about it. To be honest with you, this Week 17 game, I really don't know what to say about it. It's Week 17. I'm kind of looking forward to the playoffs. I'm hoping that the Saints get the job done, but I'm also hoping that certain things go their way in order for them to make it. Make it all the way to the Super Bowl. I'm looking forward to the playoffs right now. I'm kind of in playoff mode, so I'm hoping that they win this game and a couple of things happen. Looking at them, I don't think that. Me personally, I'm not impressed by the Green Bay Packers. And, I'm not saying that because I'm a Saints fan, and I'm not saying that because I want them to lose. I'm just not impressed with them, man. I just think that they basically beat up on a whole bunch of bottom-feeding teams. That's the reason why I feel like they have a good record. I mean, who did they play? I mean, what is their signature win all season? Who did they actually play that was about anything? I mean, you could say the Minnesota Vikings, but I mean, they got Kirk Cousins. I mean, this guy is allergic to prime time. I mean, this guy shrinks in a moment. I mean, he just folds like a cheap tent when the lights are brightest. I mean, he just completely disappoints his fan base time after time. You can talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. People say they beat them, but Patrick Mahomes did not play in that game. They were going up against a Matt Moore who came off his couch. I think he was coaching high school football or something like that before he got the call. So who did they actually beat? And they beat up on teams in the NFC East, the one of the worst divisions in football this season. I mean, they had a glorified spectacle about who was going to win the NFC East last week, Philadelphia, Dallas. I mean, but in reality, these are 2-7 teams, but they're trying to make it seem like these guys are actually legitimate and worth talking about. The Green Bay Packers are suspect to me. I mean, the defense suspect. I feel like you can run on them. I mean, they have issues like right up the middle. Their linebackers kind of struggle when it comes to guarding tight ends. For the exception of Devontae Adams, nobody on the offensive side of the ball, except for Adam Jones out of the backfield, has stepped up. Aaron Rodgers has looked like a game manager at best. So, I mean, I'm honestly not impressed by the Green Bay Packers. And if they were to get the number 1 seed, and even if, they were to get home field advantage, I feel like a team can go in the divisional round and knock them off. If the Saints, beat as it may, they end up getting the number 3 seed. I feel like they could go on the road to Lambeau and beat the Green Bay Packers. I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, I don't buy into that whole dome team crap, that they be talking about on TV, because that's just absolutely ridiculous, man. I think it's so stupid that they make that example. Oh, this is a dome team. Like this team actually plays in a dome, but you have players that get drafted from colleges all across the country. Most of the players on the Saints team went to Ohio State. I mean, last time I checked, it snowed in Ohio, right? And they were playing football in a snow, in October, November, December, around that time, right? So that makes absolutely no sense. I mean, you look at the offensive line. Most of those guys actually played in the snow in college. You look at somebody like Ryan Ramczyk. Ryan Ramczyk went to Wisconsin. Last time I checked, it snowed in Wisconsin, right? So that whole, this a dome team crap, that's just absolutely ridiculous. Like, it's a dome team, but you got guys that play up north in college and stuff like that, so they understand about playing in cold elements like that. So that's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. So I feel like the Saints can go up and beat the Green Bay Packers. Number one, the Saints can run the football. Okay, they can run the football. They can run up the middle when they want to. Okay, so the Saints can run the football with Latavius Murray. They can do it with Alvin Kamara. They can do a lot of things, and let's just be honest about this. They're talking about the cold. The Saints are not one of those teams that throw the ball down the field 50, 60-yard bombs, right? They don't do that. I mean, Saints do like a lot of close intermediate routes, quick slants and stuff like that. So the way that the Saints actually play is not going to be an issue with them playing in the cold if they have to go to Lambeau. I feel like the New Orleans Saints matchups at the wide receiver position, Green Bay play a lot of bump and run, a lot of man-to-man coverage. If you put Jair Alexander on Michael Thomas, I like that matchup really, really good. I look at some of these other cornerbacks that they have on their team, like King. I feel like the Saints can actually, take advantage of him. I think he's one of those guys. I mean, he'll make a good play, but he can get beat very easily. Savage, the safety, I mean, he's a hard hitter. He's a little bit of a ball hawk. He makes good decisions, but at the same time, he gets caught out of position quite a bit. So I think the Saints can take advantage of a lot of these young players that are still trying to learn how to win in the National Football League if they were to go up to Lambeau. And not to mention Adam Jones. I understand what he's doing right now. I mean, he's second in the league in touchdown totals behind Christian McCaffrey's, but the Saints really do a really good job at stopping the run. It kind of tapered off just a tad bit because Marcus Davenport isn't there right now, setting the edge on the other side of Cameron Jordan. But the Saints still can get that, can stop the run. They haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher in almost 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. So they can stop these guys. And I think some of the plays that the Green Bay Packers can run, I think the Saints can, end up getting pressure on Aaron Rodgers and stop stop Devontae Adams in the process. So I'm not concerned about that, at all. So, man, that's my take on that. That's my take on Week 17. That's how I feel about the playoffs. If the Saints end up going to Lambeau Field, but I would love to hear from you all about what you think about this. I'm willing to open, talk about any question that you may have. This has been a very exciting week for the New Orleans Saints. A lot of news has come out of Saints, the Saints organization, Saints camp. A lot of things have been going on, and I've been talking about it, making videos about it. We talked about it, Antonio Brown. If you haven't seen that, you can check out that video I did on him. The Saints signed a couple players, they signed a couple players off the street this week. So the Saints have really been busy trying to load up, trying to make this run at a Super Bowl. But I'm going to go ahead and, start reading the live chat here. And once again, thank you all for checking out the State of Saints podcast live. Okay, you can also donate to the State of Saints podcast as well by using a super chat. You can just click the dollar button at the bottom. You can also, just donate to the show. You don't have to, but, if you do, I would really appreciate that. Dalton Smith says, what up, bro? Man, what's going on, Dalton? Thank you for checking out the podcast. Drew Brees is here. Or who that? What's going on, Drew? My guy, Jerry Poor Jr. is here. What's going on, man? Kenterio, how you doing, buddy? We got Kendrick in the room. What's going on, homie? Jerry says 16-0 Ohio State. I seen somebody at the bottom say that Clemson scored, so it's 16-7 right now, if I'm not mistaken. Dalton Smith says, who that nation? Go Tigers. Absolutely, man. Shouts out to the LSU Tigers. I mean, what can you say about Joe Burrow? I mean, 7 touchdowns in the first half. I mean, this guy had end of the game stats in the first half. Oklahoma, first off, Oklahoma shouldn't even been in this game, in my opinion. I feel like this is why I feel about the college football playoffs. Okay, I feel like they made the college football playoff man-made because they want to keep these power conferences. They want to keep them at the top. Okay, when you had the BCS system, when you had a computer generated system, when you had that, you had all these other teams, that came in and was taking a large amount of the money. Okay, let's just be honest about this. All of this is about money. It's all about money. So they had people like Boise State. They looked at people like Hawaii one year. You looked at these teams and they're getting into these big bowl games that's generating almost $30 million worth of revenue for their university. And it's taking bread out of the mouths of all of these power conference teams. And it's also taken away from the recruiting of these power conference teams, because now you have players that are looking very closely. They're looking very closely at schools like a Boise State, looking at some of these smaller schools, because they know now they can actually win at these schools. And now these schools have enough money to go out here and competitively recruit right along with the LSUs and the Alabamas and Ohio States. And so what they did, they decided to make the college football playoffs. That's all they did. Okay. Who broke down the barrier? Boise State. Because Boise State went to the Fiesta Bowl back in 2007 and they beat Oklahoma, who was a power team, you know what I'm saying? A college powerhouse. And they went to Arizona and they beat Oklahoma. And that showed the country that, man, these small schools can actually go toe-to-toe with some of these power conferences. But, the Middies and all these other big conferences like the ACC, the SEC, the Big 12, the Big 10, they didn't like that. Okay, so they was like, man, Let's just try to make this system. That's the reason why they made it, in my opinion. They made that system so they can keep these small schools out of it, because they can easily say, oh, y'all ain't play nobody, and they can easily put teams like the Oklahomas in there every year, the Ohio States in there every year, the Michigans every year, some of these schools. So I don't feel like that's fair, but that's the reason why they made it. But back to Oklahoma, they should have never been in there, okay? And they got exposed today. I don't think nobody was surprised that LSU beat the brakes off of them. First off, they play in the Big 12. I mean, it ain't nothing but an offensive explosion. Nobody plays defense. Nobody cares about playing defense. And then when you go up against a conference like the SEC, who are big on defense, running the football, playing big boy football, you better have your big boy pants on or you're going to get steamrolled. And that's exactly what happened to Oklahoma today. Let's see. Trevor Lawrence is overrated. Christ, I don't think that Trevor Lawrence is overrated. I just think that Clemson is having a down year. They lost a lot of guys last year, man. They had a lot of seniors that graduated and they went to the NFL, or, they end up graduating from college. So they lost a lot of leadership on that team. So they basically had to rebuild. I mean, a lot of these guys are young. And they have a huge recruiting class that's coming through. These younger guys are going to get better. They're going to develop in that system, and they'll be back, man. But as far as Trevor Lawrence, I mean, I think that he's really good. I think that he needs to me personally, I think he needs to gain a little bit more weight. I think that the way that they're running their offense, having them running the option and RPOs, that's not his game. He's a stand in the pocket type guy, throw the ball down the field. That's kind of his thing. And I feel like what Clemson is doing with him right now is not helping him. You know what I'm saying? They're not feeding towards his strengths. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, they kind of, making him do stuff that kind of works for him. But I think if he goes to the NFL, if he goes to the right team, he goes to the right coaching staff, I think he'll have a really good career, man. I think he's good. I think he makes a lot of good decisions. I think he can throw the ball down the field. I think that if you put a good offensive line behind him, I think that he can have like a really good NFL career. But I mean, right now, I just feel like that team is just not what it was last year. It was just something special last year. Nobody was beating those guys. Run Latavius Murray. I agree. They're gonna have to run him. They're gonna have to run Latavius Murray. I don't feel like they've been using him as much. Last week they barely used him at all. It just seems like Sean Payton is just adamant on trying to get Alvin Kamara back into, Alvin Kamara form, so to speak. But I feel like Latavius Murray is a really good running back, so hopefully they use him in the playoffs. The Saints waived Michael Ola and Deshaun Shedd. Dang, that was quick. I just did a video on Deshaun Shedd. I thought that would have been a good look for them. It was unfortunate, man. Michael Ola, I don't understand that one. I mean, he's a really decent offensive lineman. He comes in, when somebody gets hurt, and he fills in and does a very admirable job. So I don't know that. I guess they trying to make room for other players and stuff like that, and what they need to go up against the Panthers. I think that maybe Michael Ola probably get re-signed again down the line. I don't know about Deshaun Shedd. In the first half, I think they should play the rest. They should play and rest the second half. Yeah, I think it depends on how the score is going. I mean, how the game is going. Me personally, I would try to jump on these guys as quickly as I possibly can. Get some good drives going. Just play some good defense and really just try to impose my will on the Carolina Panthers. And eventually, like if you do stuff like that, you can have your second strings out there to go ahead and finish the game. But if the Saints go around there just lollygagging and pussyfooting around with the Carolina Panthers and allowing these guys to really start believing like, man, we got an opportunity to win this game, then you're probably going to have your starters out there the whole time. And I know Sean Payton. Sean Payton is very stubborn at times. Sometimes he just gets in his own way, and sometimes his ego gets the best of him, and things that he should do he don't do because he wants everybody to see he's a genius, or he's running the show. And I think sometimes the Saints pay for that. Let's see. Shedd wave. Why? I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know why they waived him. Lil Jordan Humphries is now on the roster. Yeah, the Saints called him up from the practice squad. I think this may be his fourth game that he's going to actually play in. He played in the Chicago Bears game. He played in the Arizona Cardinals game. And I think he may have played in a couple games. Like I think he played in that Falcons game. And yeah, so is this going to be his fourth game that he's going to play in? So Lil Jordan Humphries, I mean, he hasn't really done too much of anything while he got called up, and when he was in the game, it mostly was because he's a good blocker right now, and it just seems like the Saints are just using these wide receivers like Keyshawn Hogan and people like Lil Jordan Humphries to be blockers down the field and stuff like that for running backs and stuff. So I don't feel like he's going to contribute in a big way or anything like that. I could be wrong, and I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I mean, Keyshawn Hogan actually had a pass thrown to him last week. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked, that Drew Brees actually threw the ball to him. Let's see. What's up, Jerry? I guess, what's going on to everybody, that just tuned in. I'm reading the chat right now. So if you have anything you want to say, you can always chime in. Tears One Solution says, love you guys. Hope y'all had a good Christmas. Yeah, I hope you had one too. Really had a good Christmas. Really enjoyed myself. My first Christmas with my son, he's 7 months old, our first Christmas as a family. And I really did enjoy it, man. Just watching him, we bought all these gifts for him and stuff like that, all these gifts under the tree. And all he wanted to do was play with the Christmas wrapping paper. So we spent all the money on these gifts, and he just wanted the $1 wrapping paper that it came in. So I guess we learned that, we don't have to get all these gifts for a 7-month-old because, I mean, he's not even that much interested in them in the first place. Who that from Jersey, man? What's going on, Dave? Thank you very much for checking out the podcast again, man. I thank you for that. Kareem says it's a letdown game. I don't want to say it's a letdown game because honestly, the Saints don't need to win this game. I mean, I would want the Saints to win it, but they don't need to win this game, and that's why it will be a letdown game. To be honest, because they know that they don't have to win this game, and I feel like sometimes it's kind of hard for guys to kind of be up when they're playing for absolutely nothing. And they can say that they're playing for the number one seed, but even if they win, it's not guaranteed. So there are opportunities that they can get it, and maybe that's in the back of their mind, and that could lead to a letdown. If the Saints got the number 2 seed, let's see. If the Saints got the number 2 seed, I guess you didn't finish up, Evil Dax, but if they get the number 2 seed, then they will get the first round bye, of course, and they'll get a home game in the divisional round of the playoffs. And then you never know. If the number 1 seed gets knocked off in the divisional round, then the NFC Championship game could still be in New Orleans. They get the number. Okay, Tier 1 says how they get the number 2 seed. They get the number 2 seed if number 1, if the Green Bay Packers beat the Detroit Lions, they automatically become the number 1. And if the Seattle Seahawks knock off the San Francisco 49ers, and the Saints win against Carolina, then the Saints will be the 2 seed. So they have to win. Detroit has to lose to Green Bay, and San Francisco has to lose to Seattle, and that's how they end up getting the number 2 seed. They're gonna put Teddy in the fourth quarter. Yeah, I hope so. If they put Teddy in, that mean that they winning big. I hope he's in there in the fourth quarter. If the Saints get the number 2 seed, can they win in the snow in Green Bay? Yep, I really believe it. Dax, I just talked about that. I just don't feel like the Green Bay Packers are a team that we have to fit. Wyatt, yeah, thank you very much for the information. I didn't know that. Let's see, Green Bay won't make it past the divisional round. I believe that too. Only players that are ruled out is Eli Apple, Von Bell, and Marcus Williams. Zach Line is questionable. Okay. So you have Eli Apple, which that wasn't a surprise last couple of weeks, and Marcus Williams he had a growing pull in that game. Let's see, the snow in Green Bay will keep a offense at bay. The way the Saints play offense, I don't think the snow is going to affect them. That's just my opinion. I mean, the Saints ain't slinging it all around the field. You know what I'm saying? Well, the wind going to be, blowing the ball back and all that kind of stuff. I don't see that. I just have an eye feeling that Green Bay and San Francisco are losing, but we are losing as well. Oh man, that's a heck of a prediction, Diggy Turtle. I hope those two lose, but I hope the Saints win. You know, I hope they motivated enough and understand. Like I feel like the playoffs over the past couple of years have had so many letdowns for the New Orleans Saints. I feel like they should be more motivated than ever. You know, they shouldn't leave no stone left unturned. Cam Jordan said in an interview, you know, after the game in Tennessee, he was like, "We know that, you know, the NFL, he said, I know it's us against the world." So, you know, they understand what it is, man, and so they're not going to give them anything. So the Saints got to take everything that, you know, they got to take everything from the NFL. They got to take everything because they're not going to give them anything. Man, I hope we at least get a first round bye. Go Lions and go Seahawks. Yeah, me too, man. I think that would be very beneficial to the Saints if they were to get a first round bye. So basically, if we win tomorrow, we need Seattle to win or Green Bay to lose to get the 2 seed. Let's see. Yeah, get the 2nd seed. Seattle loses and Green Bay wins. Worst scenario, we get 3rd seed. But if Seattle wins and Green Bay loses, okay, so once again, how the Saints get the number 1 seed? If Green Bay loses, if San Francisco lose, and the Saints win, then the Saints get the number 1 seed. Okay, that's how they become. That's how they need the Packers to lose, and they need the 49ers to lose. That and they have to win. They get the number 1 seed. How they get the number 2 seed? Okay, they get the number 2 seed if they win. They have to win. Green Bay wins and Seattle wins. Okay, so if Seattle knocked off the 49ers, the Saints win, and the Green Bay Packers win, then the Saints get the 2 seed. Now, if the Saints, there's also a way the Saints can lose and they can get the number 2 seed. If they lose to the Carolina Panthers and if the Green Bay Packers win, but the Seattle Seahawks beat the 49ers, the Saints still get a number 2 seed. Okay, because the 49ers will have lost twice to the Seattle Seahawks, and the Saints own the tiebreaker between Seattle. So the Saints would jump to the number 2, and Seattle would be the 3. Okay, so basically, to be honest with you, if you want the number 1, fine. You know what I'm saying? You want Detroit. You want Detroit to knock off Green Bay, and you want Seattle to beat the 49ers. But to get a first round bye, you need Seattle to win. Okay, like let's just eliminate that Detroit game. Okay, let's just kill that because I can't see David Blau going out there and beating Aaron Rodgers, even if they are playing in Ford Field in Detroit. I can't see that. So let's just focus on the Seattle game. Okay, if Seattle wins, then the Saints get a first round bye. Okay, that's it. Okay, because once again, the Saints can be 12-4. Seattle can be 12-4. 49ers can be 12-4. Even though, you know, the 49ers beat the Saints, the 49ers lost twice to Seattle. So Seattle owns, you know, would have won the division. So they're the division champs. So they have a better record than the 49ers. And because the Saints beat Seattle early in the season, they automatically get the 2. So the Saints fans are really counting on Seattle to win. Okay. Like I said, I wouldn't even focus too much on that Green Bay game. It would be a huge shock. Okay. And a huge letdown if Green Bay lose. If Green Bay lose to them, that would be shocking. Okay. Very shocking. But I would be counting on Seattle. I'm just looking at that Seattle game. And honestly, to be honest with you, I think you would want the number 2 seed more than you'll want the number 1 seed. Looking at who you would play, okay? Because check this out, okay? If the Saints have the number 2 seed, you have to, okay, let's see. That would mean that, let's just say, for example, the Seattle Seahawks will be playing against the Minnesota Vikings, okay? So they will be playing against Minnesota. Minnesota would have to go to Seattle, okay? So if Seattle wins, they would have to go to I think to Lambeau. If I'm no, not to Lambeau. They have to come to New Orleans. So the Saints would have to play. The Saints would have to play Seattle. Okay, and the number one, you know what I'm saying, whoever the whoever the lowest seed is. So we just gonna say Philadelphia is in the playoffs. So Philadelphia would have to play the 5 seed, which is going to be the 49ers. Okay, so whoever, I'm pretty sure the 49ers are going to win that game. So that's the 5 seed. Okay, so they're probably going to have to end up going to Green Bay if Green Bay is the number 1 seed. And the Saints would have to play the winner out of the Minnesota game and the Seattle Seahawks game. So it would probably be the Saints against the Seattle Seahawks, and it would be the 49ers against Green Bay. Okay, so to be honest with you, I would rather play the Seattle Seahawks than to play the San Francisco 49ers in the divisional round, in my opinion, okay? Because even though Seattle is really good, Seattle still has a lot of issues on the defensive side of the football, okay? And the Saints, I feel like the Saints would have an advantage over the Seattle Seahawks in that game. So I would rather play them. Or, you know, I would rather, if the Seattle Seahawks don't show up, Minnesota win, Minnesota end up coming to New Orleans. So I would rather play Kirk Cousins than to play, you know, Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers in the divisional round. I just would. Because like I said, I don't see Philadelphia. I don't see Philadelphia beating the 49ers or beating the Seahawks. I can't see that at all. I think it's going to be like a behind whooping of epic proportions, if you ask me. So I would rather be the number 2 than the number 3. Forget the number 1 seed. Let's focus on the number 2 or the number 3. Yep. I mean, even if you're the number 3 seed, I mean, yeah, it's a wild card game, but it's a home game. And I mean, you go on the road and possibly play the Green Bay Packers. Okay. I mean, you can beat the Green Bay Packers. The Saints can beat the Green Bay Packers. And who knows, you know, like, ain't it like, okay, even if you are the 3 seed, I like this scenario too. If the Saints are the 3 seed, they take on the Minnesota Vikings. The Saints can beat the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, they have the home field advantage. You know, they're playing in the Superdome in the postseason. They can beat the Minnesota Vikings. Then they go to Lambeau. You go to Lambeau and you take on the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers can be beat at home. I don't care what the media are talking about. You can beat them. And you never know. You know, let's just say, for example, Philadelphia play against Seattle. Seattle beats Philadelphia, okay? Then they go to San Francisco. I mean, that's a toss-up. I mean, Seattle can easily beat San Francisco. That would be the 1 seed. That would be the 1 seed losing to the 5 seed. And then if the Saints end up beating the Green Bay Packers, the NFC Championship game is still in New Orleans. So, I mean, there are so many different scenarios, you know, that still can work in the favor of the Saints. To be honest, you know, like the the NFC Championship game can still be in New Orleans if the Saints were the 1, the 2, or the 3. Because that's how good the NFC is this season. That's how good it is. Let's see. Miracles don't happen twice. Rookie QB sliced them up. If the Saints keep the 3rd seed, we got the Vikings. Y'all fear San Francisco. Last time I checked, it was New Orleans that exposed San Francisco. Let's see. Green Bay Packers home field record is 7-5. Colin Kaepernick in his prime dusted them multiple times. San Francisco is good, but they are very beatable. Yeah, San Francisco will hold during the playoffs. We have veteran experience. I agree with a lot of the stuff that y'all saying right now. What's up, TJ? We should be fine no matter what because we are the most complete NFC team going in. Do you think the Eagles can beat the 49ers if they had Nick Foles? Yeah. Honestly, I think the Eagles can beat the 49ers now, to be honest. You know, like, I just like to the last person. I won't call your name. Let me see if I can find your name here. Um, let's see. The truth hurts. Okay, truth hurts, man. You always come through with the real. Okay, so I appreciate that, man. Shouts out to the truth hurts. But to answer your question about being scared of the 49ers, look, I don't fear the San Francisco 49ers. All I'm saying is wouldn't want to play them. You know, in a divisional round of the playoffs. Okay, because they have an extra week. People saying that the Saints exposed them, I'll say yes, okay, but it's not so much the Saints exposed them; they basically exposed themselves because of the shootout. Look, because of the shootout, teams had all of this film on the 49ers, their offensive tendencies, the play calls, all of that. Because believe you me, when a game is going like this and it's that high scoring, oh, trust and believe, coaches are at like the bottom of their play calling sheet because they're trying to call their best stuff to try to put the nail in the coffin. In the process, Kyle Shanahan put all of his stuff on film. And the Saints should have beat the 49ers. Excuse me. They should have beat the 49ers. I think we all can agree. It wasn't so much what the 49ers were doing, it's what the Saints weren't doing. When the Saints were beating these guys to sleep in the first quarter, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo basically threw up some hot garbage. Okay, that pass that he threw to Emmanuel Sanders and Marcus Williams fell down. I mean, that kind of gave them momentum, but at the end of the day, I mean, that was so much luck right there. You know what I'm saying? Like that was straight 100% luck right there. Like that like honestly, that play could have been a momentum shifter or momentum killer. The way he threw that ball. If the Saints had some, I would say some ball hawks, some true ball hawks, that pass should have been intercepted. Okay, that ball had so much air underneath. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, he basically just threw up a prayer because he realized the game was getting out of hand. The crowd was getting loud. So he felt like he needed to do something. And pure desperation. Okay, so I feel like football is a game of emotions. And I feel like when he caught that pass, Emmanuel Sanders, I feel like that gave them the confidence that they needed to get back into the game. Okay, so I feel like it was more what the Saints didn't do more so than what San Francisco actually did, okay? So as far as like being afraid of 49ers, absolutely not. Like I said, I just don't want to play them in the divisional round. I would rather another team beat up on them. And, you know what I'm saying, if they end up winning, then the Saints go in the NFC Championship game or something like that. But as far as like being afraid of them, absolutely not. Because I think the Saints will beat them the next time they play them. So let's see. I'd rather see Green Bay at home or the Vikings on the road. All your playbooks are out. Yep. San Francisco beat us with gimmicks and trick plays. That won't happen again. Yep. It was a lot of trick plays and a lot of miracle work, if you ask me. Jimmy Garoppolo looked a lot better in that game than I feel like he actually is at this stage of his career. Now, is Jimmy Garoppolo, does he have the all the tools to be a really good quarterback? Absolutely. But I don't think he's there yet. Let's see. We're the best team. I'd rather like a first round bye though. We didn't have all our guys. Pete, Alonzo, AJ Klein, Rankins. Yep. We still not gonna have Rankins, but we'll have Pete and Alonzo and AJ Klein. As long as our defense is locked in and we won't kill ourselves with penalties, no team can beat us in the playoffs, period. Yeah, when the Saints play, you know, very disciplined football, they hard to beat. And we all know that the Saints don't really turn the ball over. If the Saints are right now, they can break an NFL record for least amount of turnovers in the season by a team. The Saints really just don't turn the football over. I mean, I think maybe they turned the ball over maybe like 7 times or something like that throughout this entire season. So that's like an NFL record right now. Is CJ Garner-Johnson not an amazing pick? Love that dude. Yeah, Dustin. I think that he is a really good pick. I like this young man's confidence. I was talking about him last week. I think he has a lot of confidence, a lot of swag, and I just like the way that he plays, man. He plays fearless. And I think sometimes a lot of players in the Saints secondary, they don't play fearless, man. They play not to get beat. I think the guys be thinking too much back there. It takes a miracle to beat us. Please, God, don't don't let that happen to us again. Yeah, man, I can't take too much more of that heartbreak, man. If the Saints just end up, like, honestly, if the Saints end up losing in the playoffs, knocking on wood when I say that, but if they lose in the playoffs and they just lose by a couple touchdowns and the team just proved they better than them that day, mad, but you know, I wouldn't be too upset. I'd be like, okay, man, just wasn't our day. But the way they've been losing, like last minute plays and miracle work, like that just completely hurts. TJ, do you think that beast mode will really help Seattle to win? No, I don't. No, I do not, Ramsey. I don't think that he's going to help Seattle at all. I think he will run the football, but at the end of the day, you coming in off the street, you haven't played all season long. I'm pretty sure you're not in football shape. They're probably going to have him in the game, probably for a couple tough yardage situations. They're probably going to run the football, but for the most part, I see them throwing the football all over the place. That is what I see. I don't see Marshawn Lynch having a big game. I don't see him running for 100 yards because, I mean, I like Marshawn Lynch. I like the way that he runs with reckless abandon, but he is 33 years old. And the way that he runs, I mean, his punishing running style, I mean, that does take a toll on you. And he only played like 20 plus games in like 4 seasons. So that tells you a lot, like he hasn't played that much at all. 1 year, I think he retired or something like that. He left and then he came back, went to Oakland, and then all of a sudden, he played a couple games last season, and then finally he didn't play none this season. I just don't think that he's going to be a key contributor to the team. I think he's going to run the football a couple times and, maybe pick up a first down or two, but I don't see him out there running for 100 plus yards, 2-3 touchdowns or nothing like that. I don't see that happening. Watch the Madden 11 intro. That skit is motivational. Chauncey is a dog. He's not afraid to make a mistake and an above average tackler. I think he's more than above average as a tackler. And I think he's great in run support. I think he's good at when they send him on a blitz. And he's a guy that's not afraid to, lay the wood to somebody. And for all those people out there that was talking about, especially those Tennessee Titan fans out there talking about when he hit that receiver and he knocked him out and he picked the ball up, and they were saying like that's a helmet to helmet, that was an illegal hit and all that. A week has went by and Chauncey Gardner, so that tells you everything right there. Okay, if it was an illegal hit, he would have got fined $20,000. Okay, he would have got fined $20,000 for that hit. He did not get a letter in the mail or a letter in his locker, for $20,000 on Wednesday. So that tells you that hit was not, I repeat, was not illegal. So we can go ahead and kill that noise right there. Okay, he's playing like Marcus did his first year. Marcus Williams didn't play like that at all. Marcus Williams was just a good ball hog. Marcus Williams always struggled with tackling and stuff like that, but he always, sometimes, I'm one of the main people I like to defend Marcus Williams because I really think he's a good player. But sometimes I just feel like, man, you can do too much shoestring tackling for my liking sometimes. Okay, sometimes you got to wrap that guy up. I mean, you're a safety. I mean, you supposed to be laying the wood to folk. You know what I'm saying? Like, you supposed to be that guy, put that shoulder in, the guy just falls down. Like he tried to lay a hit. I think that was Corey Davis last week. Corey Davis bounced off there like that wasn't nothing. He do too much shoestring tackling, and then he tries to put those big hits on him, and guys just kind of just like, man, get off me with that. So sometimes I feel like he just needs to work on his tackling. He needs to work on tackling. He needs to do some tackling drills with him. But besides that, I think he has good instincts, good ball skills, but need to work on his tackling. Gardner Johnson brings it, has the dog in him. He has the energy, and we stole him in the 4th round. Yeah. And honestly, the Saints, The way that he played, I think it shocked a lot of people in the Saints organization. Because honestly, the Saints picked him up because they thought like he could be good in the slot, which he is. And they picked him up because they didn't know that they had Vontae Harris. They thought they probably was going to have him back there returning kicks because he's a guy that not only can, intercept the ball, he can actually return it to the house. Like he had maybe like 6 or 7 interceptions in return for a touchdown in college or something like that. So the Saints got him because of his ball skills. So I think the way that he's playing right now, the way that he's tackling, the way that he's coming on the blitz, the way that he is, laying the wood, I think that's a shock to the Saints. So I think he is a huge return on investment for them because I'm pretty sure they didn't think that he was going to be as good as he is right now. And I don't think they felt like he would do some of the things that he's doing right now. Let's see. Marcus has so much potential. Yeah, he does. He does have a lot of potential. I don't want to give up on him. 3 years in, Marcus still taking bad angles. I'm over him. Man, I don't know what to say about that. I just think that sometimes I just feel like he had to work on his tackling. I mean, come on, man. Okay, I'll give y'all a prime example. A person that everybody knows, right? Malcolm Jenkins. Y'all remember Malcolm Jenkins, when he was in New Orleans, I mean, he was woofing on the tackles, right? Man, he was woofing like, throw the ball to the tight end, man. He'll be woofing on tackles. Look at him in Philadelphia. I mean, now, you know what I'm saying? What is this, like his 10, 11 season in the league? And what is he doing? He's out there, man. He's like the heart and soul of that defense. I mean, out there laying the wood to folks. So sometimes, man, guys start off early in their career. They start off bad, but eventually, the light come on for them. Sometimes the light comes on earlier, for other people than it is for some, for others. Some people, the light come on right away. Like you look at somebody like Nick Bosa. This guy comes in the league, take the league by storm. His brother, the same way. Then you have people like Cam Jordan. Okay, Cam Jordan, the first couple of years in the Saints uniform, people were looking at him like, man, what we got him for? But look at Cam Jordan now. For the last 3 seasons, his sack totals has increased. So sometimes the light comes on early for some guys, and then it comes on bright later on for others. So I feel like when it comes to Marcus Williams, I just feel like the light has not really come on just yet. But I feel like this. I think the Saints do need to sign this guy when his contract is up because he will be a good player. He will be a guy like you will see in a couple of years. And just like a lot of you are saying, man, why did we get rid of Mark Ingram? Man, why did we get rid of Jimmy Graham? Man, why did we get rid of Darren Sproles? We're going to be saying the same thing about Marcus Williams. I'm telling y'all right now, what today is. It is December 28, 2019. I guarantee if the Saints get rid of Marcus Williams, we're going to be saying that same thing, the same old sentence we say every time the Saints get rid of somebody and they go and they contribute to another team. Tommy Lee Lewis. Tommy Lee Lewis did get a trial with the Saints. He was one of the 6 wide receivers that the Saints, tried out. But, no, they didn't sign any of the guys. Tommy Lee Lewis, like a bad memory. Every time I saw 11, I would get mad. Tommy Lee Lewis, in my opinion, good guy, great hustle, good teammate. A lot of people say liked him a lot. But I feel like he was just a waste of space. Okay, I honestly, I feel like he didn't do absolutely nothing in the return game. I mean, hit and miss. Sometimes he'll catch the edge and maybe get a couple yards, but he never really did anything for the Saints. I just think that he was kind of just taking up space. Let's see. Big Q called Marcus Williams a whiffer. I'll keep the faith because PJ Williams is trash. That's somebody I would get rid of, PJ Williams. PJ Williams is not good. That is somebody I feel like we can all just say, man, look, that is a failed project, okay? And honestly, I was one of those people when PJ first got into the league because I watched him at Florida State. Played with Jalen Ramsey and Jameis Winston when they went on that national championship run. I said, man, PJ Williams, man, when the Saints got him, I'm like, oh man, this dude pretty good. And in the first season, man, he played pretty good. And then I think he had like a concussion or something like that, and he missed like the entire season. And then he came back, and I mean, ugh, man, ugly stuff right there, like a car crash or whatever, like a 5-car pileup. It was just like you just can't watch. It was ugly. Still is in some cases, but he hit and miss. He inconsistent. Some games, he'll play really well, and then other games you'll see him getting smoked like brisket and burnt like a biscuit. So I feel like the inconsistency of PJ Williams is what makes him bad. I just feel like that's a failed project. Packers or 49ers will have to lose for Saints to get a week off. Actually, yeah, one of them would have to lose to get a week off. They both would have to lose in order for them to get home field advantage. I agree, yo. They might be in their fourth year, but our secondary is still young and developing. Yeah, I mean, these guys have played together since they came into the league. So their chemistry is really well. Like you can't take away that. Those guys are learning, they're communicating. I mean, they laugh together, they cry together, man. They go through hardships together. So these guys are, they should be on the same page. And in some cases they are, man. But at the end of the season, I mean, you got guys nicked up, hurt, especially in the secondary, man. That's a tough position to play. I agree, yo. They might be okay. Already read that. TJ, too nice, 3 years, and he's still making the same mistakes. He's replaceable. I'm telling you right now, man. I'm telling you, that dude is one of them people that y'all gonna be looking back in a couple of years saying, man, why did we get rid of that dude? I'm telling you, he has great ball skills. I mean, like everything else, like about him, man, can be kind of, it can be kind of tweaked. I mean, honestly, I'm telling you, you get rid of that dude and he goes somewhere else, the team is going to really have something special because he gonna get better. Like I said, Malcolm Jenkins was the same way. Malcolm Jenkins was the same way. Malcolm Jenkins used to whiff on tackles, could not tackle to save his mama life. If they say, man, your mama, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, I'm not making fun of man mama, but I'm just saying, like, it'd be like, man, your mama on the line if you don't make this tackle. I'm sorry, somebody taking his man mama. That's how bad his tackling was. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was that bad. But look at him now. Look at him, man. This guy like the heart and soul of the Philadelphia defense. Like, you never know. Like, when you get rid of these guys, and these guys go other places, and you like, man, why did they get rid of him? He's one of those guys. December 28, 2019, why did we get rid of another player? I'm telling you. Let's see. Well, we just worked out Tommy Lee and with Antonio Brown. Yeah, but they didn't sign none of them. Those DUIs got PJ Williams all type of jacked up. I think he was jacked up before the DUIs, my brother. We need AB, no excuse. I know how you may think he's a cancer, but they said the same thing about Michael Irvin. Also, don't we have Carl Granderson on the team? He was put in jail. We don't need quiet boys. Okay, look, check this out, man. Iceman T. Look, man, you my guy. You know what I'm saying? I respect your opinion on this. Would I like the Saints to have Antonio Brown in his locker room as far as for his talent? Yes, for his talent, okay? But I just feel like this guy doesn't care about football. I just think this guy's about the show. I think this guy's about the spectacle. You've been out the league all this time, you know what I'm saying? I don't know when you played last time, like week 3 or week 4. You haven't been on the field. You've been having like bipolar attacks. One minute you hot about the NFL, next minute you cold, want to apologize. You got all this stuff going on in your personal life. I just don't feel like this guy's focused on football. Okay. So my question is to you, would you want a guy that's not focused on football? would you want a guy that's not, really fully interested and all in with a team? Because I'm not just saying this because of what the media is telling me. This guy, I'm telling you, this comes from the Saints source inside of the Saints organization. This man showed up to his workout with a whole entourage, a camera team, okay? And basically posting a whole bunch of stuff on social media that he shouldn't even post on there. And I'm pretty sure the Saints organization told him to take down that waiver that he posted and take down those videos of him being in the locker room, in the Saints locker room. This guy, in my opinion, isn't caring about football right now. He's trying to build this brand. I feel like he's not been getting talked about the way that he once was because the NFL has passed him by. They talked about him for a little while. New England Patriots, they cut him and, they gave him a couple, days of press attention. And then all of a sudden, people start focusing on everything else. And finally, he get an opportunity to try out for a team, and here comes the circus all over again. This was his opportunity to show people that, man, I'm all in. This was his opportunity to show people that, man, I'm going to take this serious. He did not, okay? So would I want him in the organization for his talent? Absolutely. But what I think is, do I think that he's worth the headache? Absolutely not. I think that the Saints can easily go out here and find somebody else that can contribute to the team. Could they contribute like Antonio Brown? Probably not. Probably, definitely won't, put up some of the numbers that he can put up. But at the end of the day, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a guy that can put up big numbers but can also cause animosity and hardship inside of your locker room? Or would you want to have a guy that can put up a couple of catches, in the game, and you don't have to worry about, him possibly being arrested or possibly being on TMZ somewhere doing something that he has no business doing? I understand how Saints fans feel. I understand that everybody love this sexy pick. We love the sexy picks. We like the big names. We like the Dez Bryans. We love the Adrian Petersons. We loved all those type of people when they came through for namesake. But at the end of the day, I'm about chemistry. I'm about camaraderie. I feel like chemistry and camaraderie is what wins championships. It's not all about talent. I have seen, if that's the case, the Cleveland Browns should be in the playoffs right now. If that was the case, the Philadelphia Eagles a couple of years ago when they had Michael Vick and Nnamdi Asomugha and they had Asante Samuels and they had all this talent, on their team, they should have went to the Super Bowl. Okay, so the way I feel about it, if it's all just about talent, then all these teams would have been in a Super Bowl, right? Sometimes it's about having chemistry and having a good locker room. Sean Payton knows what he's doing, man. Y'all remember them, the dark ages of the 2014s and 15s and stuff when you had people like Junior Gillette in your locker room and guys, like Akeem Hicks, bringing down the morale of the team. Y'all remember that? I don't want that anymore. I'd rather go out there in the playoffs and go out there and use what I got. We acting like the Saints 9-6 or something like that. The Saints are 12-3. They're tied right now for one of the best records in the NFL. And we up here talking as if they really truly need somebody like that. Oh, we need another number 2 receiver. Oh, we need another number 2. How many weeks have we been saying this? How many weeks have we been saying that the Saints need a number 2 receiver? Okay, how many weeks? And how many times have the Saints went out there with what they had and won football games? Okay, me personally, I don't think that there's nobody on the street that can just come in and just save the Saints organization because honestly, I don't feel like they need to be saved. The way that they've been calling plays, the way they've been using Taysom Hill as a tight end and as a wide receiver, the way that Jared Cook has stepped up, the way that Michael Thomas is playing, the way that Alvin Kamara can catch out of the backfield. And then you have Ted Ginn and Traquan Smith that can catch a ball every now and then. What the problem is? They went toe-to-toe with the team with the number 1 defense in football without a number 2 receiver, as y'all say. As we say. I don't want to say y'all because I said too. As we say. So what the problem is, if you can go toe-to-toe and put up 46 points against the number 1 defense You're not going to get no better than a number one defense. And you go out there and you put 46 points on them. Please don't, man. Please. Let's pump the brakes on how desperately they need a number two. A number two can be had. You know what I'm saying? It could be get. They could get a number two. They could get one. But I don't feel like they can. It's just so urgent right now. They're 12-3. The Saints are 12-3, folks. 12-3. Okay, they're 12-3. Teams that are not good are not going to be 12-3. I mean, that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion, folks. Traquan again Jr. will not get it done in the playoffs, my guy. That's facts. They ain't gonna get it done. NFC Championship game, Iceman T. Drew Brees threw the ball down the field. Who caught that football? Was it Michael Thomas? Huh? Was it Jared Cook? He wasn't there. It was Ted Ginn Jr. Okay. Ted Ginn Jr. Okay. What was that? What was it? 3rd and 15? 3rd and 25 or something like that? Against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who caught that football, man? Ted Ginn Jr. San Francisco 49ers. Last offensive drive for the New Orleans Saints. Who caught that pass? Was it Jared Cook? Nah, he had a concussion. Was it Michael Thomas? No, it wasn't him. It was Traquan Smith, man. So please, I mean, I understand the inconsistencies of these wide receivers. They're inconsistent, but at the same time, they can make plays. Okay, they proven that they can make. Okay, so and let's just be honest about this. Drew Brees haven't been throwing them the football like that. Now we can say that, you know, they ain't been getting separation. That ain't true. Drew Brees threw. We can think of at least 4 touchdowns that Jared Cook caught that he caught in traffic. Okay, so Drew Brees can't fit the ball into them in order for them to make plays. You know what I'm saying? But he throws the ball to Jared Cook. He throws the ball to Michael Thomas. So these guys have proven that they can make plays, that they can step up, and they did. So once again, the Saints are 12-3. They're 12-3. And we come on here every single week and we talk about how they need a number two and how bad they need one. I mean, to be honest, the Saints have a number two receiver. His name is Jared Cook. I mean, if you want to be honest, Jared Cook is a number two receiver. I mean, he's a tight end, but he's the number two. And he's really good. I mean, getting yards after the catch, he catches the football really well. And the way the Saints line him up in the offense, I mean, he runs like wide receiver routes. I mean, so that's just my opinion. I don't feel like it's nothing dire, folks. I don't feel like the Saints are going to die if they don't get a number two receiver, get somebody off the street. I mean, that's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just my opinion. Iceman, I'm sorry, man, but it is enough. They 12-3. How is it not enough if they're not 12? They're 12-3. They're 12-3. Like, if that's they've been like they had no number two all season long. No, all season long. All season long, they have not had a number two, and they're 12-3. And they played the 49ers, they played the Rams, they played, you know what I'm saying, the Seahawks. They played the Bears. You know, they played the Falcons twice. About to play Carolina twice. Tampa twice. Like, I mean, Cowboys. So 12-3. I mean, that is a tough schedule they had. That's a tough schedule. I mean, so I don't know, man. Like, I just feel like we are nervous. Like, I get it. I get it. Like, man, trust me, I get it. We want to win a Super Bowl. Like, we want to win a Super Bowl. Look, I understand that. We don't want anything to come between that. But I trust what the Saints do. I mean, we had Taysom Hill. What do you call like a 24-yard pass against Tennessee last week? I mean, come on, man. Like, I don't feel like it's nothing that's just so urgent. I mean, to me, the next number two for the New Orleans Saints, I don't even think in the NFL yet. I think he's in college right now. I think that's the way I feel. I feel like it's not going to be Dez Bryant. I don't feel like it's going to be Antonio Brown or any other wide receiver that they have out there on the street. I think it's a young kid that's coming out of college that the Saints are going to draft. That's who I feel like is going to be the Saints number two. That's who's going to be the number two for the Saints. It's not going to be any of those guys. And quite frankly, we're talking about Antonio Brown. We don't even know if this guy can play. Okay, the Saints can sign him, and they could easily put him on a commissioner exempt list. So you still going to have these issues. Like that the NFL is not going to allow this guy to play in the postseason. I mean, you got sexual assault charges against you, rape charges against you. Like, come on, dude. You think that the NFL is going to allow this guy with all of that stuff going on? I mean, they had the Ray Rice fiasco and all these other sexual assault cases that came around, like, you know what I'm saying? Like all these other players that can't, you know what I'm saying? The stuff that they've done. You know what I'm saying? Like Kareem Hunt, guys like that. You think they're going to allow Antonio Brown to play in the postseason? Man, please. Trust me. That's not going to happen. So that's still a waste of time. It's still a waste of time, so I feel like it's irrelevant because I don't feel like Antonio Brown will play anyway. You can sign him, but you just wasting your time. Let's see. Oh yeah, what's the score of that Ohio State Clemson game? Somebody tell me, please. Let's see. Having AB would be cool, but y'all, we should be able to win regardless. Yeah, we 12-3. 12-3 is not enough for us, man. Our playoff games against likewise competition and always raise it close. Antonio Brown on the left and Michael Thomas on the right will complete gut a secondary like fish. Man, the Saints played almost every team that's in the playoffs right now this season. They ain't played Minnesota. What I mean, honestly, Xavier Rhodes been playing like trash. Okay, Trey Wiggs been playing like trash. Smith, you know what I'm saying? Like Harrison Smith is like the best, you know what I'm saying? Like the best thing in their secondary. You have you have Hunter at the you know what I'm saying, at the linebacker / defensive end position. Me personally, like, man, I honestly feel like the New Orleans Saints can win with what they got. You do not win 12 games. You do not win 12 games if you just, terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like, we act like the Saints can't put up no points. We act like the Saints just can't, you know what I'm saying, move the football at all. I mean, where's the drop-off? Like, where's the proof? Like, honestly, somebody put up the proof that the offense has struggled just so tremendously because we need somebody like Antonio Brown. Where's the struggle? Like, where's the struggle at? The only thing, you know what I'm saying, the issues that the Saints had before was the fact that they had so many games not having good opening drives, but they were winning games. So where's the huge drop-off? Like, where is the huge drop-off? And and honestly, like, this conversation that we had, like, why didn't we had this last year? Like, the Saints been basically named a couple guys at the receiver position for the last couple of years. It's been Michael Thomas. So Saints went 13-3 last year. How did they do that? That's all I'm asking. Like, how did they do it? Let's address this. I have to call you out, TJ. I remember after the Falcons lost, we had the same question. Traquan and Tig and Austin Carr is not it. Mike needs some help, and we can't leave any stone unturned. Iceman T, yeah, I definitely said that. But I also said with Traquan Smith, I said these guys have to step up. I said that these guys have to do, you know what I'm saying? I think these guys have to do better. I said they were absent in that game. So I said these guys have to step up. So I do feel like the Saints don't need no stone left unturned. But at the end of the day, these guys have stepped up. You know what I'm saying? Like Traquan Smith after the 49er game has stepped up. Was he, you know what I'm saying? Did he do anything last week? Nah. You know what I'm saying? He didn't do anything. But for the last couple weeks, he had a total of, you know what I'm saying, should have had 3 touchdowns. Okay. They took away one of the touchdowns against the Colts. So the guy has really, you know what I'm saying, been stepping up. Traquan Smith is not a guy that is going to give you 10 touchdowns. Okay. He's not going to do that. I mean, he can probably get some separation, get the sticks moving or something like that. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like these guys, you know, have been that terrible over the last couple of weeks that they can't go into the playoffs and make some noise, or, you know what I'm saying, or be competitive. I mean, since that Falcon game, the offense has improved. You know what I'm saying? They have improved since that Falcon game. You know what I'm saying? They have been moving the football since that Falcon game. The guys that I called out have been, you know what I'm saying, doing some things, you know, after that Falcon game. So that shows right there that they were improving. And then with Traquan Smith, I mean, the man had a high ankle sprain. He was out for a couple weeks. He had to get acclimated back. So, like I said, man, when you go 12-3, you're a good football team. Okay, it's hard for me to go back and forth and contemplate and be like, man, you know, this team needs this and that, and be like, oh, we doomed if you 12-3. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't do it. So that's just the way I feel about it. Let's see. Hopefully, this AB situation encourages Smith and getting Junior to step up and be better. Man, like I said, I just think that we just looking at this whole number 2 receiver thing a little bit too hard. You know what I'm saying? I feel like these guys, in the way that Sean Payton run his offense, in the way that he puts guys into position, I feel like they've been doing a good job. Drew Brees had 13 touchdowns, no interceptions in week 13 through 15 this year. Last year, he was 3 touchdowns and 3 picks in week 13 through 15. Yeah, I think those 5 weeks actually really helped Drew Brees. I feel like that kind of helped him because he was kind of slowing down towards the end. God forbid Mike gets hurt, we're screwed. Now, if he does get hurt, then yeah, we'll be in some trouble. Again, is Butterfingers and Traquan can't get separation. Yeah, that's true. But, man, I just see these guys catching the football. I see these guys, honestly, something have to be going on in order for Michael Thomas to be getting all these targets. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's how the Saints run, you know what I'm saying, their offense is the way that maybe Traquan, you know what I'm saying, can move guys out. It's the way that the Saints spread these guys out. Like I said, it's hard for me to actually look at this and be like, man, you know, all hope is lost. Like I said, would I want the Saints to like get somebody like Antonio Brown? Like I want, you know, yeah. But do I feel like that, like they can't go into the playoffs with what they have and actually go all the way? Yes, I do believe that. I strongly believe they can go all the way with what they have. This is going to be a touchy game. The Saints are fighting for the number 1, and South Carolina trying to get kicked out of the playoffs. I think Carolina going to win 38-30. If Sean was okay with the receivers, why would he try out other receivers? He tried out other receivers because these guys were hurt. Michael Thomas, you know what I'm saying, set out of the practice. Okay, you had Keyshawn Hogan he's on IR. I'm pretty sure he was trying out these other receivers because he needs the depth, you know, at the receiver position. You got Keyshawn Hogan who's hurt. You have Michael Thomas. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about in the starting rotation. You got Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith, Ted Ginn Jr. So you need depth at the receiver position. They need somebody else that can come in. You know what I'm saying? To add to the depth of the team. So Keyshawn Hogan got hurt and he's out on IR. That makes room for another guy. Yep. Yeah, they put him on IR, man. I don't know what happened to him. I guess he probably got hurt in practice. Game will be over by the third quarter. So the man catch one pass, get put on IR. Why do black in the USA make up 13% of the population and yet make up 60% of the population in prisons? Jigga and Coke, I have absolutely no idea, my brother. That's a very good question. I wish I had an answer for you. I really just don't know. I think that's really deep something, a really deep question. I think think we kind of all can think of why that is. I'm not underestimating Cam Newton because he's a beast, but he's no Drew Brees. Uh, Cam Newton, yeah, Cam Newton is a good football player. I think he's gonna continue to stay in Carolina. I don't think they're gonna get rid of him. Looking at what they actually have out there, that hot garbage that they have out there at the quarterback position right now. Um, I think Cam Newton's job is safe. TJ, I am as good with the players that we have. Let the record speak for itself. Yep. Like I said, man, the Saints been going. The Saints had a tough schedule this season. If the Saints had a schedule like the Green Bay Packers, maybe I'd be a little bit nervous. But when you're playing against the toughest division in football in the NFC West and you're playing against the AFC South, I mean, those are some really good football teams in the AFC South. I mean, Indianapolis, they had a down year. Houston, they won the division. Tennessee still fighting for a playoff spot right now. If they win, I think if they win, they're in. Jacksonville, they're a train wreck, but at the same time, they have a lot of good players on their team. Probably just need a new coach, and they fired Tom Coughlin, so they're going to be good next year, in my opinion. Let's see, Emmanuel Butler, not happening this season. Michael Jackson, not happening. Not happening. Emmanuel Butler is a guy that they're saving their red shirt, and I completely understand that. I mean, he is a guy who needs a lot of work. He needs a lot of work, man. I mean, yeah, he's big, he's physical, but at the same time, man, he struggles in a blocking game. Some of the assignments that he needs to get, I mean, he doesn't pick them up. And I respect what the Saints are doing because, you put him out there, he makes those mistakes. The next day, you have a guy with a lot of potential. You end up hurting his confidence in himself. So the New Orleans Saints are doing a good job keeping him on the practice squad because next year I think they're going to unleash him. That might be your number 2 next year, So I'm not mad at the Saints for putting this man on a red shirt year, tucking him on the practice squad, hiding him out there, letting him work alongside Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas has been working with him and stuff like that. So you might see, the advent of Emmanuel Butler next season. Let's see. Kamara not going nowhere. Kamara didn't earn any money this season. Yeah, people was talking about Alvin Kamara. They're talking about. I like how some Saints fans call you fake fans, because you real and you talk about a player that hasn't been playing up to their potential, like Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara tweeted something called condition. He tweeted something that said conditional, and I guess he was basically talking about the fans that said that they love him with conditions. Nah, man, you can't play like that and then you expect people to just be okay with it. You're not. If Drew Brees goes out, and I'm knocking on wood, and he throws 5 interceptions, I don't care. I'm gonna call Drew Brees out. I'm gonna say he played like hot garbage. As great as Drew Brees is, you got to call a spade a spade. Alvin Kamara has not played up to his full potential this season. Yeah, he had a good game last week against Tennessee. All I'm saying is do it again. Live up to your potential. I don't know if, like I said, you're reading your press clippings, you know what I'm saying? Your head's in the clouds, or you know what I'm saying? Like you're getting a little press, you're getting some commercials, and all of a sudden you're letting that go to your head and it's affecting your play, or maybe you hurt. I don't know. But at the end of the day, you're not playing the way that you played last season. And not to say that he's a bad football player or nothing like that. I mean, he's a really good football player. And that's the reason why people are upset, because they know how good he is. So love that we have Alvin Kamara, in my case, is conditional. It's just the fact that you got to be real. If I am not doing what I'm supposed to do or living up to my expectations, I don't want somebody to tell me, You know what I'm saying? You want people to lie to you? You know what I'm saying? You get 9 carries for 18 yards. You know, all of a sudden you want people to lie to you and say that you played good. Well, you didn't. You know, like you didn't. And then you'd be like, I think one time in the interview was like, fans don't see certain things, blocking downfield and all that. I mean, blocking downfield is good. That 61-yard touchdown would not have happened if he didn't block down the field. If he didn't block down the field, Jared Cook would not have scored that 61-yard touchdown. But at the same time, the Saints don't pay you to block. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, they pay you to block sometime, like, on blitz pickups, but they pay you to run the football. They pay you to catch out of backfield. They pay you to elude defenders, which you have not been doing. I mean, he did it last week, but it is what it is. Like, it's time, like, I just don't get it. I don't understand, like, how people can say, play bad and then they don't want you to say anything about them. And then they'd be like, oh, man, you know what I'm saying? You said I didn't play good. Well, you didn't. Like, if you didn't play good, you didn't play good. That don't mean you suck. Just mean you had a really good game. He really not. Kamara has been getting tackled more, and he usually doesn't. He needs to play like he did last week. Man, how many times have y'all seen Alvin Kamara just go down the first tackle? I'm talking about dudes just shoestring tackling this dude. I mean, I seen this dude caught the ball and he just ran clean out last week. I mean, he didn't even try to fight for extra yards. Where your heart at? You know what I'm saying? Like, where is that? That's all I'm saying. Not saying that you ain't got one, but I'm just asking where is that? All right, so that's my opinion about Alvin Kamara. I seen somebody talk about that, but go ahead and get up out of here. But I'm gonna give my final thoughts. Tomorrow, week 17, the New Orleans Saints take on the Carolina Panthers. Once again, I got the Saints winning 37-13. Think it's going to be a blowout. I think the Saints are really going to try to jump on the Panthers and really impose they will try to get some guys in the game that are probably backups. I think the Saints are really going to take this game seriously, just try to get the job done. I'm interested to see DJ Swearinger tomorrow. I'm interested to see if Janoris Jenkins can pick up his game, play a little faster than he did last week. I'm interested to see if the Saints can actually get some of those young players to get some pressure on the quarterback. I'm interested to see if they can get some turnovers in the game. For the last couple of weeks, the Saints have not, intercepted the ball or anything like that. I know they forced a fumble last week. I'm interested to see if they can actually get an interception or something like that in the secondary. And I just want to see them get that momentum, man. I mean, they only can control what they can control right now. Those other teams, they got to do what they got to do in order for some things to move for the Saints. But it doesn't happen if you don't control what you can control. So I think the Saints are going to win this game on tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. I know you all are looking forward to it. Hopefully we'll get a good showing out of Alvin Kamara tomorrow. Maybe Latavius Murray run the football a little bit better than he did last week and, get this victory. But this has been the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all very much for checking out the live edition of the State of the Saints podcast. Be sure to check us out. Check out the State of the Saints podcast on Twitter, SOTS Podcast 8. That's SOTS Podcast 8. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not already, youtube.com, search State of the Saints podcast. And also on Facebook, go to facebook.com, search State of the Saints podcast. I put up videos, interviews, all kind of stuff involving the New Orleans Saints. Right now, I want to thank Troy Thompson, who donated the $1.99 through the super chat. Somebody else donated $5. I'm sorry, I was in the middle of like a conversation and I really didn't catch your name. So I'm trying to stroll down the list real quick so I can give you a shout out and say thank you, for donating the $5 through the super chat. I apologize again that I didn't acknowledge it at the time because I think I was in the middle of I don't know if I was talking about the Saints or the college football playoffs, and I was like, man, I'm gonna go back to it. But Troy, thank you very much for donating the $1.99. And the person that donated the $5 through the super chat, thank you so much. I appreciate anybody, that donates to the show, that, that contributes to the show through the chat. the usual people, my guy Jerry Krause, Tier One, Truth Hurts, man, Iceman T, all of the people that that constantly check out this podcast, this live stream. Thank you all very much. I'll see you all tomorrow, immediately following the Saints Carolina Panthers game. Hopefully, I'll get on like right after the press conference of Sean Payton. If nothing happens, if my girl don't ask me to go to the store or nothing like that, or my son or something like that, doesn't need my attention, I try to jump on right after. But you all know that we are still going to have a live podcast right after the game. Win, lose, or draw, we're going to talk about it. So thank you very much once again. And like always, all I got to say is, who that? Good night, everybody.